Come in. Hi.
Hi, I'm Henry Dwyer with ADP.
Nice to meet you, Henry. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Are you
Please sit down.
Francis?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, nice to finally meet you in person.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so I know we spoke on the phone last week,
Uh-huh.
and actually I found some time between then and now to stop by your North Point location.
Oh, did you try out the gelato?
Yeah, I did. I really was looking forward to trying the maple gelato,
Uh-huh.
but you were all sold out.
Oh, well, that's so popular. Yeah,
Yeah, I
it's
hear
one of
it's
my favorites, absolutely.
Been in high demand lately.
Yeah, it has.
But I went with the blueberry.
I can't tell you how many people walked in the door here and tell me they've tried that, so, it's got to be our favorite.
And I was hoping to be the next one.
Yeah.
But instead I went with the blueberry, and I
And how
gotta
is
say,
that?
it's a very close second.
Oh, that's
It's
good.
really good.
That's
yeah.
good. That's
I
great.
didn't realize the big difference between gelato and ice cream.
It's huge, isn't it? It's just amazing. It's hard to describe, but once you've tasted it, you understand completely what the attraction is.
Oh yeah, 100%. And I was curious. So you decided to bring a slice of Italy back to Atlanta, Georgia.
Yes.
Why is that?
Well, my family and I traveled to Italy quite a bit. Have you ever had a chance to be there?
No, my parents went there and they told me all about it.
Yeah, yeah.
But I've only been able to taste it in your store.
Yeah, exactly. Well, then I've succeeded. That was my intent. The food's fabulous. The people are fabulous. And at every corner there's a gelato shop. And my family and I just really loved it. We came back here and realized, well, there's just no place to find that here.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually went back to Italy and took training in how to produce gelato. Went to like a 3-month university and came back with that business model, and it's really been extraordinarily successful because it's such a good product, and I hold the standards very, very high. Make it very authentic. Actually, the equipment, the store fixtures, the ingredients that go into gelato all comes directly from Italy. So.
I mean, you graduated from a gelato school. I
Yes,
hope some of that
exactly.
would
Yeah,
be-
Gelato University. Yeah.
That's really cool. I haven't heard anything like that
No.
before.
Well, there is a hamburger U from McDonald's.
Oh,
Actually.
really?
Yeah, there is outside of Chicago.
Oh wow! Learn something new every day.
Exactly.
Well, you know what? You gave me 10 minutes to meet with you,
Yeah,
so I want to
absolutely.
respect your time. And a few things I'd like to do is just talk to you a little bit about ADP and our solutions.
Okay.
Learn a little bit more about your company and just see if we could be a fit.
Okay, that sounds great.
Does that sound all right with you?
Absolutely.
All right. So ADP stands for Automated Data Processing.
Okay.
And believe it or not, we're more than just payroll. A lot of times when I ask people if they're familiar with it, they say either they don't at all know anything,
Right.
or
That's where
they
my
do something with
paycheck
payroll.
comes from. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we handle a lot of different things like time, labor management,
Mhm.
tax compliances, and services such as HR, insurance, retirement, and some other HR outsourcing.
Okay.
On top of our bread and butter, which is payroll.
Payroll. Yeah.
And so so you do still have those 3 locations?
We do. We have the 3 locations. We just actually hired somebody to expand. I'm thinking of we're going to be going with a franchise model.
Mhm.
I realized that the 3 locations were just about my maxing out in terms of my hands-on capability. But I do want to expand the idea. There's a lot of popularity. People, are sort of clamoring for this particular product. So I'm actually going to pursue a franchising model.
And so with this franchise model, do you see yourself moving out of state, or like in 5 years?
Oh,
or?
absolutely. Well, there you go. I want to give McDonald's a run for their money in 5 years. I'm thinking probably our first foray out of state would be to Florida, which probably
Florida.
makes sense. There's a lot of metropolitan areas, a lot of people from up in the Northeast and the Mid-Atlantic area. They're probably more familiar with the product, and it's warm most of the year. So
Yeah,
I think it'll be a really good opportunity there.
Might be better than trying to bring it to Minnesota where it's just freezing.
Yeah, I know. I can't imagine people live up there.
I can't believe they do it. So those 3 locations, how many employees do you currently have?
Well, we have 60 part-time employees at the 3 stores.
Mhm.
I've actually got 4 managers, so one for each store. And then I use one as a floating manager.
Mhm.
It's really been a family-owned business. So my sister Dorothy and my brother Steve. Dorothy's involved in HR and marketing, and Steve is in charge of operations. And we just hired Frank, the one I mentioned, is to do our franchise relations. That's our first non-family hire. And there's let's see what else. There's 3 more people in operation in the production. We actually produce the product here.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's a little over 71, I think, total.
Okay, 71 total, and 60 of those are part-time.
Exactly.
And you mentioned Dorothy. Is she that floating manager you were talking about?
No. Dorothy's actually she does HR and marketing, so
Okay.
she's going to be considered part of the senior executive staff.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Not even counted in that.
Yeah.
Then. So when it comes to your current payroll, who handles that?
Dorothy does for the most part. In her role as HR.
And so what solution does she currently use?
We have a QuickTime, which is a software-based. It's so it's a time and attendance software. So the employees can essentially log in from anywhere. And then it integrates with our QuickBooks, which is of course our accounting software that we use.
Okay.
Hmm.
And so when you said they can clock in from anywhere,
Mhm.
what kind of security measures do you have in place currently to make sure that there are in store when they
Well,
clock
that's
in?
an interesting question. It just came to my attention last week that I've always thought the best thing was that they could log in from anywhere. But now I
Mhm.
think that's the worst thing is that can log in from anywhere, because I just found out last week we had an instance where someone was running late and they called their friend, and the friend actually logged them in. So I was not aware of that issue. Now I'm concerned. I don't know how prevalent that issue is. It's a concern.
Yeah, buddy punching, something I've heard
Uh,
quite a bit
oh
about.
yeah, I've never heard that term. That's a great term, buddy punching.
Yeah, it's something that we talk. It's a buzzword around ADP,
Right, yeah.
and it's something that we actually work to eliminate.
Oh, how interesting.
Yeah, we just actually incorporated this new technology. It's biometric, and it takes a thumbprint scan, and so
Oh.
you really have to have your thumb there
Yeah.
in order to
Kind of
in order to clock in.
sci-fi-ish.
Yeah, exactly. So with that click time, it handles your time and attendance and tracking that.
Right.
Does it do anything else in terms of scheduling or shift management?
No, it just integrates with our accounting, so it does generate the payroll
Mm-hmm.
based on the time and attendance. I mean, on the attendance, but no, it doesn't do any of that.
So it is kind of like a dual system. So if you ever had any complications with that, where one doesn't necessarily align with the other one, or
Not today, but I could see where it could potentially be a problem. I hadn't even thought that
Yeah.
through.
so who does manage the shifts and scheduling in terms of keeping track of vacation?
Each of those
absence?
store managers, and it's a lot. I don't know if you've ever
Okay.
had a part-time job at one of these sort of fast food restaurants or franchises, but it's just a lot of juggling. Somebody calls in sick. It's just a real lot. It takes a long time.
Yeah, I can definitely see that, and that's actually one thing that ADP looks to eliminate. Due to our customer data and what we've been able to gather from that,
Okay.
what we've learned is actually we can save managers about 40 minutes each when it comes to scheduling and shift
Really?
management activities,
Wow.
and that's a week.
40 minutes each per week.
Each per week, and
Wow,
so
that really adds up.
And in that 40 minutes is 35 hours a year.
Wow, a whole full
And
week essentially, more
Exactly,
or less.
a
Yeah.
full paid week.
Right,
And so as we look at, like you currently said, you have 4 managers,
right.
and so we'll just use those 4 to kind of calculate that. Would you say you pay them about $20 an hour?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And then we go times that. So a little equation down here I like to keep on hand. Times 20 equals about $2,800.
Wow.
And with someone like yourself, Francis, who's looking to expand, and that number is only going to continue to grow as you
Right.
add on managers and
Right.
you add on staff, and you know that obviously in order to make money you have to spend money. So I'm
Right.
sure as you're expanding, you're investing in your own company,
Mhm.
and you kind of need to be able to cut costs at any point you can.
We do. There's no doubt about that. I have to ask you. This sounds like an expensive program, is it?
And a lot of people kind of say that up front, but like anything, like I said earlier, you need to spend money in order to make money.
Right.
And so, I mean, you can see right here, this return on the investment is $2,800. But a lot of times, a lot of other clients I've talked to, they see that return within 6 months. With you, someone who's growing substantially,
Right.
I think that return is going to be even quicker
Right.
and a lot more substantial.
Right.
So
How secure is it though?
we have a multi-security system.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of are you talking about the punching in?
Yeah. Well,
Or-
just the whole system. This is all really, proprietary, confidential
Mhm.
information in terms of people's pay and their social security number, et cetera. I mean, how secure is your system?
Yeah, so it's very secure.
Mhm.
I haven't had any problems with any of my clients in terms of
Okay.
security. It's password protected, and you would have that password,
Mhm.
and it's up to your discretion who you want to share that with.
Right.
And so I would recommend you and only a couple other people who definitely are
clearly.
hands-on,
Right.
you really trust.
Right.
So as long as you're really good with handling the password, it's
Mhm.
very secure, and I haven't seen any problems like
Oh,
that.
okay. Well, that's good to know.
Yeah, and so as we were talking about your payroll a little bit, does she hand enter anything in there, or is any
Well, there
manual
is
steps to that
something. I would have to
process?
ask Dorothy specifically. I don't really know
Mhm.
how much time she spends doing it. I just know she complains about it very loudly. I mean, so whatever amount of time she spends in her mind, it's too much. But there is some reconciliation. From the time and attendance, it's integrated to QuickBooks, but she still has to. And then it will issue direct deposits, but she still has to reconcile to make sure that there's enough money in the accounts to cover it. Clearly there's tax reporting issues involved, so she's still pretty much hands-on. So it's not completely automated, if that's what you're That's key.
Yeah, and so with her HR and marketing, two separate roles,
Mhm.
do you see her spending more overtime with HR?
Oh, absolutely. I know, again, she complains loudly about it, so she doesn't have enough time to pursue the marketing aspects. And there's
And-
just so many things to be done in marketing, social media, etc. So.
Especially when you're growing.
Right,
It's
right.
going across state
Right.
lines and things like that.
Right.
Do you think that if you were able to free up some of her time, that she'd be able to spend more time marketing? Would that
You
be
know,
beneficial?
I'm sure absolutely, you're absolutely right. I hadn't thought about that, but you're
Mhm.
absolutely right. I'm sure she'd be thrilled as well, you know.
Yeah, well, here's a few ways that ADP likes to help our clients save more time, and it really makes the process a little bit more efficient.
Okay.
It's through our Run mobile app. And this is something you can take with you and have on you 24/7 when you're on the go or when you're in the office. And so we'll just run through the demo here really quick.
Okay.
Let's start demo. You go to payroll. And then as you here is where you're clicking on, let's just go a regular payroll week,
Okay.
pay cycle.
How interesting, you just do it right from your phone.
Right from my phone,
Right.
anywhere I'm at. And now here you can check on dates, make sure you're on direct deposit. Do you currently use direct deposit?
Yes, we do, yeah.
Yeah, then we can just hit resume on this.
Okay.
Go to the next page. Just make
Oh,
sure it's
look
set
at
up the
this.
way you want.
Right.
And is that the list of your employees?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can sort it out and pick by salaried or hourly,
Oh,
because
look
you
at
have the
that.
part-time and you have the salaried. You
Right.
can go by department, employee name, and different things like that, so you can kind of play around there. And one thing I like to do, maybe it's just because I'm in sales, I like to go by department, click on the sales staff, and then look at that. I'm not sure what screen you're on right now.
Oh, that's right. I press the buttons. I can't believe that there's this much information in
Yeah,
there.
yeah. I mean, as soon as you go to report, it shows you those liabilities you were talking
Right,
about
yeah.
in real time, which is a big benefit. I mean, then you don't have to sit there and calculate it yourself.
Oh, absolutely, because there's
Or-
always an opportunity to make a mistake there as well, you know.
And with that preview feature, you can use it as many times as you want to ensure all the data has been entered in correctly and it's all accurate. Do you think that being able to see it all in real time, do you think that might help out Dorothy?
Oh, I
some
know it
of
would.
the
I mean,
process?
you know, it really piqued my interest. I hadn't really thought about this, and now that I do stop and think about it, you're absolutely right. There's just lots of steps, and we do plan to expand. There's no doubt
Mhm.
about that. So, you know.
Yeah, and so I guess moving forward, do you think it might be beneficial if we can get Dorothy in on a meeting and maybe talk to her?
Yeah, I think that probably does make sense. Absolutely.
Right. Yeah, so I think what we're looking at here is a way for you to cut a lot of costs, I mean, especially with expansion, I
Right.
mean, long run and short run, and free up some of Dorothy's time for marketing and give you this hands-on capability. Do you think that we can maybe meet next week and get her
You know,
involved?
next week sounds pretty good. I'll talk to Dorothy, and yeah, I think that'll work for us.
Okay, I'll be in the area Wednesday in the afternoon. Does noon or 1 work?
Yeah, actually probably noontime will be tough because that's our busy time. So let's say a little bit later in the day, 3
Yeah.
o'clock. Would that work?
I can swing 3 o'clock. That
Okay,
can work. Yeah.
all right, that sounds great.
Yeah,
I
thank you
look
very
forward to
much.
it. Thank you. Thanks.